I'm Donna Hanover. One intrepid reporter and columnist here in New York City is also an author who has written a thriller that starts with a terrorist trial here at the United Nations. The protagonist is a character much like herself, covering one of the biggest stories imaginable.
Right here at the United Nations, the reporter Alessandra Russo is late to cover the trial of an alleged terrorist, and a 50-car caravan is pulling up with the terrorist, and they're going to perp walk him through the United Nations. The terrorist is taken out of the van. All the reporters are jostling, and he walks right up to her and kisses Alessandra on the lips.
Does she know him? Has she ever met him?
No, she's never met him. Now everybody is convinced that she's somehow connected to this alleged terrorist who is, they're saying, responsible for thousands of deaths. And suddenly she goes from being a reporter to being the story. And without even thinking about it, all her colleagues are chasing her because she's now the news story. She runs and she sees that there's a church in Mary's Garden. She seeks asylum, a priest opens it up, and she's escorted inside to safety. And then he allows her to write her story there.
And what happens with him?
Well, the next day he helps her with a car and so forth to get out of the city. And then she hears on the radio that he's been murdered and she's the suspect.
As a real-life reporter at the New York Post, Linda Stasi has never been in trouble for murder, but she definitely has a history of being in the middle of big stories, according to her colleague and boss, TV editor Michael Starr.
Well, Linda was one of the first to write about the Michael Jackson molestation case, if not the first. She was the first to interview the Gotti family here at the Post.
Linda has also authored nonfiction books like Boomer Babes and A Field Guide to Impossible Men. But 6 years ago, she decided to write her first thriller. For research, she made many trips to Europe, especially to Italy, where she traveled with an 80-year-old priest officially registered as an exorcist at the Vatican. They found the Veil of Veronica in a little monastery up in the mountains about 200 miles outside Rome.
There's a question in the book about whether Demiel, the alleged terrorist, really is a terrorist or possibly the clone of Jesus Christ. Do you think that the DNA of Jesus Christ really exists?
I think the DNA of Jesus Christ exists on that veil in the Montepello Monastery. In every Catholic church, there are the Stations of the Cross. The sixth Station of the Cross is Veronica, who was the wife of a Roman centurion, supposedly, wipes the face of Jesus, and his image appeared on a cloth. That is the Veil of Veronica. The only thing is, Veronica never existed. She never wiped his face, but the veil does exist. 2,000 years ago, every Jewish man that died, first they'd place a napkin over his face or a veil, and then they'd wrap a shroud around it. I believe that what this is the napkin that was placed over Jesus' face. The Shroud of Turin, when the two are put together, they match up precisely and create a 3D image.
Oh,
yes.
So you think this means that they were both around Jesus when he died?
Linda says there is a scientist nun who studies the veil, and there are monks who guard it. One told her why it is called the Veil of Veronica.
He said it's Veronica. It's the Latin for true icon.
And Linda is still stunned by what happened when she took pictures of the veil.
I started taking digital photographs, and they changed. The image changed on every single photograph. Some were growling, some were smiling, some had teeth, some didn't. I was just going, just like that, and every one of them was different. Inexplicable. I've shown you because you're my friend, but you know, it's not something I generally show around because nut job. But Pope Benedict did go and pray, went up to that monastery. Monastery is called the Volto Santo, the Holy Face. He went there, he prayed before it, and 2 weeks later, he declared this little monastery a papal basilica in 2007. So you tell me.
He believed.
Yes.
In the book, Alessandra begins to think it's possible that Demiel is the clone of Jesus and that the killings have been committed by others to frame him.
2,000 years ago, Jesus was accused of being a seditionist. In today's parlance, that would be a terrorist. My feeling was, if Jesus came back, would the same thing happen again, or would we be more enlightened?
In real life, when the book came out, there were parties, celebrity endorsements, and cheers from Linda's husband Sid, other family members, and many friends. And there were accolades from great mystery writers like Nelson DeMille. At the annual Thriller Fest, where fans can buy books and get them signed by their favorite writers, Linda was welcomed as an exciting debut author.
As Linda Stasi joins other authors, their publishers, and fans here at Thriller Fest, we are left to wonder, will there be a sequel to The Sixth Station? Where will this real-life reporter take us for her next explosive international saga? It's a mystery for now. I'm Donna Hanover for Arts in the City.